Aye, aye. 150, 150.
What's up, everybody, man? Welcome back to the Man Kave Experience, man, with myself, Cedric Edison, the wonderful man I get to call my friend Ron Servant. Wow, man. We appreciate you guys joining us. I know, right? Much love, exploding hearts, man. Hey, we appreciate you guys joining us each and every week. For you guys, first timers, hey, we really appreciate you guys too, taking time out your day to come and sit and just hear two dudes just talking about, many various subjects and just being authentic. Just two dudes from two different parts of the world, two different backgrounds, and we just giving our authentic thoughts. And what's up, Ron? What's happening?
Man, I am just, as you are, just kind of feeling a high right now. Just doing some cool things within the business. Got some cool weather going on right now here in Southern California, a lot of rain. So we definitely need that, just kind of helping with the whole drought situation. Tentatively set my retirement 6 months from now from the city of San Marino. So excited about that. But just also excited just that sometimes we have these topics that just kind of come up. Right? We think that these are things that, are topics that, men don't necessarily resonate with men, but things that are interesting things to talk about when you find a man that you can connect to and talk about. But sometimes there's those topics that we don't necessarily feel are, topics that that are like in the news, that are, commonly, challenges for men in the world. So I love the fact that you just put yourself out there the other day of this being something you wanted to almost like proclaim to the world, kind of where you're at in your life. And now a topic we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm feeling fantastic. I love 2019 so far. I also like the fact that I was talking to a gentleman the other day, one of my clients, and he was just, sharing with me how he doesn't necessarily look at 2019 or the change of year of being a reason to step into new things in your life. So, you the listener, obviously new year for you as well, but shake it up, change things up, whether it's now, middle of the year, whatever it might be, push yourself in your life in all these different areas that you can, whether it's through this channel, whether it's through you taking bold actions in your life. But just, feeling, as you can tell, full of energy, full of spunk, full of it. So I'm going to flip it back to you, and you can intro the topic for tonight.
Because I did. So guys, how this even came about is the other day, a few days ago, I posted on Instagram some body profile shots, full body shots of myself, and for the longest time, I was ashamed of my body. Not that I was overweight, but I was always underweight or viewed as the skinny dude. So I had some serious body image things going on in my life, and I made the declaration to step into that fear, or well, not into it, but through that fear, and post these images and kind of give a story behind it, like how I was always the skinny dude, and I lost a lot of weight, and now I'm looking to gain weight, just on a personal level. I just want to gain weight and not deprive myself and not eat, so I won't gain weight. That was always my thing, like, oh, I'm not going to eat because if I eat, then I'm going to pack on these pounds, especially now that I'm older, metabolism is slowing down. Oh my God. And then just thinking, well, I lost all the weight after the surgery. Oh man, I'll never get that back. I'm too old now. And so I decided to go through that process and be visual or be seen with the intention and put it out there to the world. So it's in the atmosphere. Now I have, quite a few Instagram and well, just say social media friends and family to hold me accountable to my goals. And so yeah, that's how that topic of body image came about that we're going to talk about tonight.
I love that. And I think I'm just thinking about, I was speaking on my workshop about energies that we have within our body, and energy is not born, it's not lost, it's somewhere displaced if you don't feel like the energy is where it needs to be for you to feel nourished and to feel whole and to feel like life as it should be is unfolding the way you like it to. So I'm interested when you made this, it's not really a self-discovery, but more of a acknowledgement of this is what you've been struggling with. And I would never have guessed that. I think most people in your life probably wouldn't have really recognized that in you, that you had this, kind of shame that you call it around, your body. Where did you carry that? Where in your life did you tuck that away? Was it in your body, as far as just an area of your body where this energy was, or did you just kind of shy away from things that you typically would do? Because I've seen you, when we've been on stage and wearing the tank top and just kind of feeling what I felt was very confident and for a man of your age and stature, I think I didn't see any issue with that. So I'm just curious on where you hid that, because I wouldn't guess that at all.
Really, I guess it's funny you ask, man, because it kind of came into, it all happened kind of like a Mel Robbins moment. I was just kind of thinking, and I think I had just finished journaling or something, and it was just bothering me, and I was like, screw that. This is what I'm doing. I'm no longer I'm not that skinny dude anymore. Like, let's get on fitness and let's get healthy. And plus, another opportunity, a business opportunity came up along with that. And that was just one of the things. And I was like, whoa, that I was writing about. And it was just like, whoa. And then Mel Robbins, with our 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And I was like, all right, screw it. And I just started writing, typing. And that's kind of where that came from. But I haven't really, or at the time, I really didn't do a full examination of where it was at. It was just like, okay, there's the fear. I'm afraid to do it. Just go and dive in. And now I'm kind of in that discovery, because it's still there. It's not like, oh, hey, I posted it and yeah, it's magically gone.
And it's
more my core.
What's that?
They probably more on my core, like that heart area. Yeah. But I mostly hid it in my clothes though. Like I would continue to wear big clothes. Like I would never, like the Under Armour shirts, you would never like, I'm not wearing it because, it's supposed to be tight and it's fitting me like a thermal. So I'm like, no way, I'm not wearing it.
So how were you feeling in that? So that bodysuit, which you kind of did feel a little bit uncomfortable, we wore it on stage, during the live event. That must have just been not only a stretch from as far as being in front of people and people not visually being able to see you and know who you are and dancing and doing all those things. So obviously that was a much bigger challenge for you than even I realized, or you realized.
Yeah, it was, dude. Well, a part of it, like I thought I was going into it and I was going to be safe, because I was like, oh, well, initially I was like, oh my God. I'm gonna be honest, the first thing I thought about was my junk. I was like, man. And then Kanisha was like, we could see that. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't know what to do.
I'm in. I'm already in.
Yeah, right. And but then I felt safe because I was like, well, nobody will know who it is.
Right. But
it wasn't until we were there for like maybe 10, 15 minutes I realized, people know who we are. Like, and then it was a game, but then I guess that energy though, I got lost in the energy and was just like, you know what? And then before the night, it was just like when we did the jump, you know, when we wore the dresses last year, it was just, I didn't even notice it anymore. It's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
But hell yeah, that was, yeah, because I was even worried about that. I was like, man, what if I get in it and it don't fit and it's all loose and it's supposed to be a bodysuit? Oh my gosh. Like, I went through that whole through that whole deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we think about, I guess, both men and women of, I guess just in my mind, that more of the society judgment is on people that are overweight versus people that are underweight. But it's the same suffering, right? It's just that acceptance of oneself. It's how we feel like we might be judged or unaccepted by others based on us not being what society deems as being appropriate, whether it's based on your height or based on, you know, your build or all these other things that come into play. You know, for me, you know, I'm 55 now. And I'm, you know, I try to be, I'm conscious of how I look. I don't feel like, I guess I do look at, you know, how other men my age look and, you know, do some comparison. I think that's, I guess, somewhat normal to, you know, kind of gauge where we feel like we fit in, you know, based on others, you know, that how they're looking and carrying themselves in their own lives. But, you know, it just brings up a good point about how we, you know, we have the self-judgment and we identify how others are different than us. You know, we've talked about, you know, prejudice, you know, the black and white issue that we've talked about and how we have experienced that in our lives. You know, this is, obviously this isn't a form of prejudice, but I think, you know, we don't connect with others in a way where we identify how we're similar, right? We still have a tendency to say you're the skinny dude or you're the person that's that or this. And, you know, I love the fact that you just decided to just take the action and just boldly display, you know, yourself and feeling comfortable with that. And I'm assuming that that's, you know, something that, you know, you've probably thought about before from time to time, subtly or in your, you know, your awareness, you know, more so. I mean, just to take that bold action, that's just, I think for those that are listening in and may have similar challenges, you know, take a note from what Cedric did. And this may resonate with you in a different way where there's something that maybe you look at your own life and you hold back because there's that self-judgment. There's that worry about if I act this way, or if I, you know, share this about myself, or if I, you know, display a certain behavior, it's not going to fit into the group of people that I typically am looking, you know, for acceptance or some acknowledgement from. So, you know, kudos to you for just doing that and just, you know, creating this space for us to learn, to, you know, kind of look within ourselves to see, you know, what else can we do? What are we holding back, you know, in areas where we're not being fully present and not really letting go of the fear of the things that we want to move past. So I applaud you. That's awesome. That's what we want to do here, right? I mean, we have these other conversations that are sometimes funny, sometimes sad, sometimes, you know, challenging. You know, this just kind of hits for me just to the heart of the matter that as men, especially, that we need to step it up. You know, there's no reason for us not to be aware of the challenges that we have and be willing to put them out there and work through them and change our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say be careful of, well, let me say it this way, because I think what happened, a large majority of what happened is, you know, we get all of this input, you know, from all over. And I know for me, it started when I was young, you know, and I was the slim kid. And at that point, when around that age, most kids were kind of the same, you know, slim, you're growing up. And there were some chunky kids. I can remember going shopping. They used to call it the husky section. I don't even know if they call it that anymore.
My son's husky.
Oh, they still have the husky section?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, you know, and even little stuff like that, husky. And then, but even from husky on, they got picked on.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, witnessing that, it was almost like, well, I never want to be that.
Right.
So that was a skewed type of programming, you know, where having weight on me was just negative. You know, it was just like, no, because if you gain weight, then you get picked on,
Yeah.
you know, but I eventually still got bullied, even because ended up being a small kid, you know, like, oh, he can't defend himself. So I would say, like, be very, very careful of that, you know, and how you start to internalize and process that information that you might hear. Even if you're not engaging in some of the conversations, you know, we hear people snickering and making fun of the overweight person, or even the skinny person, like, oh my God, like, she's drowning in her boots, you know, where she has small legs and big Ugg boots. You know, I've heard that comment before. So I would say just be mindful and aware of how you start to process that information and process it in a positive way.
Right.
Like, you don't have to wait 39 years like I did. You know, well, I would say about 30, because it started probably when I was about 9.
Right.
So 30 years, you know, you don't have to wait that long.
And it's, I guess it's, the challenge is what we grow up in as far as our family as well. It's like, who are the people that are giving us maybe those subtle messages early in our life that make us feel uncertain if we're accepted as we are. And then we hear those reassurances when we go off to school, and we're hearing similar messages that reinforce maybe what our parents or grandparents or uncles or aunts, you know, their way of living that maybe didn't accept, you know, that type of body type or whatever it might be. And, you know, then that just gets kind of passed on to us, that we then harbor this, the people that we love the most, or the people that we surround ourselves with, start making these decisions that we end up just saying, well, if all these people are saying this, it must be true. You know, who's telling me otherwise? So that's the challenge, right? Even as we get older, it's like, how do I surround myself with the people that are going to give me the right messages? How do I change my own thoughts? How do I realize that these thoughts that I'm having about myself really aren't how I feel about myself? How do I shift that? How do I kind of push those voices in my head out and start creating these new voices where, like you did, stand up and say, no. Or even if I was the skinny kid, I'm okay with that. I am who I am, and I'm much more than just this body that might be judged by myself or by others. There's much more that defines me as a person than just those things. So let me pay more attention to that. Maybe those other things won't feel as challenging to me because I am all these other things that aren't being brought to my attention that I know are true about who I am.
Man. Wow.
But I think, you know, when we get stuck in these ruts, right, and we just can then be very willing to, you know, push the easy button and just say, well, you know what, that might be true, and then we're probably not willing to stand up for ourselves, whether it's through, you know, kind of being pushed down before, or just lack of confidence that, you know, we don't feel like we can step into that and feel like we're going to be acknowledged of, yeah, you're right. How many people stand up for other people in our lives? How many people stand up when you're in a crowd and somebody's saying, you know, you're the skinny kid, what's up with you? It actually stands up and says, you know, what are you talking about? You know, why are you making these accusations, or why are you making these judgments on somebody that this has nothing to do with who they are overall as a person? I mean, how many people do that? That's what I think, because then we're worried about the reaction from that person, or the judgments that are going to come along with that side of it. So we have to, right? We have to, as human beings, be willing to stand up for ourselves, stand up for others, and take a stand. You know, we went through this exercise, right, with our health coaching around, what is our revolution? What do you want to stand for in your life? And you're taking a stand, right? It's like, no, I'm not going to allow myself to think this way about myself, and I'm not going to let others determine how I view myself. And that's, you freaking pump me up, man. I just want to just acknowledge just what a great action step that is for you. I love that.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. It was tough. It was tough, but I gotta tell y'all, like, taking that action though is so freeing.
Yeah.
It was like it's like, holy shit, now I can, it's like, like when the women, ladies, y'all, it'll make sense because I hear, from my lady, when y'all have the high heels on, and you walking there smiling, or fellas, you got that ladies around and you pump that chest up a little bit, suck the gut in, and then and you're like, oh, I can breathe now.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it feels like. That's the best way I can explain it. It's, okay, now I'm not gonna do it, but I could just post pictures every day with no shirt on and I'll be all right. But now I got to get my summertime fun first.
And the ego, it can be a very, challenging part of who we are, right? It could be our best friend. It could be our worst enemy. And we have to realize, obviously, our ego is an important part of who we are, but we have to realize, or at least acknowledge, when those messages that we allow into our awareness become so overwhelming, where we're questioning everything that we're feeling about ourselves, and all we're worried about is how we want others to see us. The ego is in full control of your life. There's no willingness to stand up for yourself, because it's just, the discomfort is beyond what you really want to deal with. And I've been there. I think we all have been there. We've all been there from time to time. It's just that learning process and the willingness to keep leaning into that direction. It's not giving up. It's staying the course. It's making those tough decisions that you don't know. It's that trust, right? That trust in yourself, that you take that step and then let go of the results. And that's a freeing experience, right? In so many ways.
Yeah. Something else, because I wrote it down for one of my action steps around this. And it was something, I did it a little bit in the past, and I've heard other people doing it. And it's something I want to do, and I would invite you guys to try it too, because the first time I put my foot into it, it was an amazing exercise. And it's two versions of it. The first version is just go to your bathroom and look at that person in the mirror. And that person that you see, tell that person that you see that you love them. Mm-hmm. I love you. It's going to feel awkward.
Yeah.
You might have to do it
awkward for a bit there, right? You get to that point where you're like,
yeah, and do it long enough till you believe it. Mm-hmm. And now the upgraded version to that, which is what I'm going to be doing, is going in with my birthday suit and looking at the whole person and telling the whole person, mm-hmm. I love you, to the point I believe those words, and it's really resonating in my mind.
Right.
Just to free myself a little bit more from that bondage right there.
Well, I think when you do that, eventually you see past the body, right? You see those attributes about you that aren't the physical in nature. They're all the other beautiful things that you put out into the universe that people are attracted to. It's not about, I would be lying to you if myself included, we want to feel like we have a look about us to a certain extent that is pleasing to us. But, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line to say somebody else disagrees with me, that I question myself? It's about that, you're not going to grow at all in your life unless you feel that sense of who you are, what's important to you. Like Cedric says, loving yourself, irregardless of any things that happen to you or, in your life in general. And that includes bad decisions, decisions that you need to forgive yourself and move on from, and fall back in love with yourself. Not feel like because you make a decision that may not have been the right decision at the time, we accept and acknowledge and give, we give back to those that make mistakes. And we try to understand that, that's something we need to be mindful of. So are we more willing to do that for others and less willing to do that for ourselves? That's something to consider, because I think we're probably a lot more willing to give somebody else the break that we're not willing to give ourselves, because there's not that emotional connection that we feel at loss from. If we acknowledge our own faults, we can kind of feel better about giving somebody else the get out of jail free card, versus sometimes holding ourselves captive for long periods of our life.
Yeah, don't hold back the love.
No.
If you're gonna love them, love yourself too. Don't hold it back.
And then that's just resonates with other, right? People that experience that, others that have that self-love, they want that. It's like, it's like anything else that we are able to move forward in our life and share as a gift that we have. Man, I want some of that. I want to experience that love that you're showing for yourself. I want to experience that willingness to stand there and express all of you without any type of judgment, and accept just you as exactly who you are. Other topics, Cedric and I are putting things out there, knowing that the struggle continues. It's like we're far from figuring life out, and nor do we feel like we need to figure life out. We just want to continue to grow, to learn, to challenge ourselves, to not accept this version that we are sitting before you today as being, that's it. No, this is the new baseline. We continue to move up from here. Growing older in age does not give you the excuse to lessen your values of who you are as a person and your willingness to continue to grow in all areas of your life.
Yeah. Wow.
It's
been a good one, man.
Maybe we should do a naked show. Nah.
Well, I tell you what.
Viewership might go up.
For
one episode.
Right. And then everybody just drop. I tell you what, I'll make this one, and listeners, y'all can hear it. If you can get Kanisha to agree to it, I'll do it.
I know Sarah Vanderster listens from time to time, and I used to watch. Well, I do still watch her videos, but she would come on some of her live videos, and just because of the camera shot, it would look like she was topless. So maybe we can give the illusion that we're naked, but not actually naked, and just kind of leave that at the, maybe not. I just turned 55, so maybe not.
That's funny, man, because I'm still brainstorming, because I do some of my best thinking in the shower, dude. Yeah. And I was telling Kanisha, I was like, man, it would be great, if I could just broadcast from the shower and steam, and that just wouldn't be a good.
That's funny you bring that up. I know we're kind of digressing. A little bit, guys, but just kind of us sharing other parts of who we are. Because I soak in my jacuzzi just about every night, so I was thinking about the same thing. It's like, it'd be cool just to run an episode from live from the jacuzzi. Here's Ron in the man cave type thing. But I guess we have to be aware of, to a certain extent, although we don't do this just because of viewership, but we want to put a good product out there. That may not be the best,
right.
the best product out there. So, wow. I don't know. I'm just amazed still at your willingness to just do things in your life that just step forward. You know, as many times as we both have stepped back in our life, just our continue maybe one step back, but then 3 steps forward. And I just love just the continued growth of the channel, this continued growth of us, and hopefully the growth of you as the listener, that you know, kind of create your own sense of inspiration within yourself, that accept all those little parts about you that maybe you struggle with again. Just, you know, even those little nooks and crannies that maybe you don't pay attention to and they seem small in nature, sometimes those are the ones that are the worst. Those little things that you figure, man, I'm just gonna maybe just push that back in the corner and not deal with that. That might be something that leads to just a bigger realization in your life that I've been holding back in a whole bunch of areas and I need to really step it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Wow. This has been a good one, man.
That's because you're present and I'm present, and it's a great place to be.
And I'm still on the high, man, because y'all, I just got back from a speaking engagement that I wasn't even scheduled for. I just showed up and they asked me to speak. So I'm on a good high right now, trying to keep it calm.
Yes. And we are, Cedric, and just the audience, we do have a couple guests coming up in the next few weeks, just kind of figuring out the details on that. And there's always, and I know we mentioned this on many times, there's always an open invitation for every one of you listeners that may want to come on or just challenge us to talk about a topic that maybe we haven't touched upon. You're like, God, I show up Ron and Cedric talk about this someday. Drop in the comments. You know, we're open to whatever might be out there, because there's something, it's almost like at times we'd like to maybe just pick out of a hat of a whole bunch of topics that might be possible. So it's even more of a spontaneous reaction. So maybe that's a challenge I put out to you, the listeners, is, you know, keep us in suspense. Maybe, you know, come on with us in an episode and we won't know what you're going to ask us or what the topic might be. And let's just shoot from the hip. Let's just make it real and make it happen, and you know, bring you on board to share a little bit about who you are and what your life is, you know, what you're experiencing in your life, and maybe some things we can contribute to it, and vice versa. We want to learn from you.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be so fun. Just a round robin, just a grab bag of topics. That would be so awesome. Yeah. So feel free, y'all. Drop them in there. You know, don't hold back. Like, let it go. If you gotta mail Robbins at 54321, write it down or type it in and hit send. Right. Go ahead. You know.
And also share. I mean, I think we've mentioned this in the past before too. You know, this might be exactly what somebody in your life may need, and just maybe share the link to somebody else that might benefit from it. You know, we truly appreciate every one of you that's been with us since the beginning or come on board, you know, as we've moved through this last year plus. Bigger, better, stronger, faster. That's how we're looking at the Man Cave. We're still challenged with the live broadcasts all the time, but that's going to happen for sure as we continue to grow in our practice and be able to really put that out there, just more live videos. But until then, this is kind of our venue, our once a week talk around connection and all these other things. And just, again, truly appreciate each and every one of you, even if you spent 5 minutes with us today or you spent the whole time. We appreciate with all of our hearts every single one of you.
Yes. Much appreciation, much love, mad love, man. Wow, I guess until next week, y'all. I love y'all from the bottom. Man, and namaste.
Namaste.
Next week.